Welcome back. I hope you've all had a good day working on posting slow home test results for single family houses, as well as doing this and maybe whatever else you're doing in your lives. I know probably nothing's more important than working on the slow home website, right? My results for these two projects, you can, if you want to have a look at the actual slow home test results, you can click on the link at the bottom of the player. They actually came out very, very close together. The Oakdale project scored a 14 and the Eastland project scored a 13, so there's a very slight difference, probably something that we would need to go into another level of detail to actually analyze to see which floor plan is better. You'll notice that I gave the location a 0 because it's only got a 9 out of 100, but I did give, for a walk score, but I did give the environmental performance marks to both of these projects because of the initiatives that they talk about on their website. Organization, I think, is fine, but there were 3 areas in particular that I thought were problematic, that made slight differences in the way in which these units work. First, I wanted to talk about something that I really like in both of the units, and that has to do with the proportion of it. So often in the last, since we've started this project, we've been talking about having houses that have been long and narrow, where we've been fighting to get the entry, the garage, and maybe a living space all at that front level. What I like about this is that this house has got a wide proportion and it's fairly shallow. What that means is that because of that depth, it means that most of these rooms, particularly on the top floor, all face out either to the front or the back. We don't have any of those interior facing rooms, except perhaps for that study in the Eastland, although it's not there in the Oakdale, and that's a huge plus. I also like the fact that the garage is at the back. I think that that's a good thing from a city site point of view, because it means that we don't have all those driveways on the street. So if it was a walkable neighborhood, it would be a much, much more pleasant place to walk around. I did want to talk about the family room, the living room, a little bit. I gave them both indoor points for the living room, although they're a little bit different, and I think that that's important to look at. This one, which is the Oakdale, notice how that the stair is right there, and how that starts to set up a bit of a circulation space right in the front there, which is going to move the furniture around a little bit. I do like the fact that it's a little bit shallower than the Eastland. This one, you notice how this is quite deep. It still has that same problem there, but I think because of the way in which the stairs are located, you're actually going to circulate more that way. So just variations on them. The kitchens are is another location or situation that is different between them. In the Eastland, the kitchen is in the front, and although it's not the best organization, I don't think this pantry is really all that useful. It would have been better to have had another counter space, potentially more even around the side like that, so that there was just a little bit more usable counter space. I do like the location of the kitchen here, because I think it puts the breakfast area out in this major space like that. If we look at the other project, we've got, let me just erase this, here we've got the kitchen in the front like that, and it puts that breakfast space in the back, and then this area here is filled up with utilities and powder room and stuff. So I don't think that's as nice. I prefer the space, the living space in the Eastland a little bit more. The bedrooms are fine. The dining room is fine. The study, however, is also a place where there's difference. If we look at the Eastland project, there's actually 2 places for studies. One that they call out as a study, which is here, which I've got to say isn't a particularly nice room, although it's well located. I like the fact that it's off this hallway here. If there isn't any major obstruction over on this side, that could be a decent room. My bigger concern has to do with the quality of that space. I think it's called a game room, but more likely going to be used as a study, and it's a little bit deep and a little narrow and sort of off the beaten path, and it adds a lot of circulation to that space. So the Oakdale, on the other hand, doesn't have a study on the main floor, but it's got a much nicer kind of space here, where you come up the top of the stairs. We've got this low wall here. Notice how that study space, or that extra living space, is actually part of the main circulation in a much more natural kind of way, and then you go from there into the various bedrooms. So I think that that's a plus for that, which makes it really difficult, doesn't it? Because on one hand we've got the Oakdale with the better study, and on the other side we've got the Eastland that's got the better kitchen. tough to weigh down. I'm going to come down on the side of the Eastland because I think the kitchen's something that's going to be more important to be using on a day-to-day basis, and I particularly like that the location of the kitchen. Although if I was advising somebody to buy it and it hadn't been built yet, I'd want to expand the kitchen around the corner so that it got a little bit more functional. That's what I think. I'm really curious about what you think. This is a tough one. They're actually very, very similar, just trade-offs about preferences. So that's what I think, and we will see you tomorrow with a design project.